Christmas in Prague. This story starts in a small village of Czechoslovakia in 1957. Most of people who wanted to go away to Austria usually were killed by guards. A woman and her baby were trying to escape to meet up with her husband in Austria, but the baby started crying and she didn't see the black car behind the trees. Suddenly, the guard shouted at her and she fell down on the snow in the road. This time, the only sound was the crying of the baby. In England, in 1995, an old man called Joseph and his son, Jan, and Jan's wife were planning to go to the concert where she had to play the harp. She had the first concert on December 20th, so she wanted her family to go. But Jan couldn't go before December 24th, so he decided to go to the second concert on December 25th with his father.
Carol traveled to Prague. The afternoon before the first concert she was free, so she decided to go shopping to buy some presents. When she left the old town, she saw a man across the street. She thought that he was Jan, so she shouted his name very loudly, and the man stopped. He looked at Carol for a minute, but he didn't smile and didn't speak. Then he began to walk away from Carol, so she ran after him, but she didn't see a bus and she was run over. The next morning, the conductor noticed that Carol was not in the rehearsal, and nobody knew anything about her. So Mr. Rinaldi decided to call the police. Carol was visited by Mr. Rinaldi, so she was very confused and didn't remember what happened. So Mr. Rinaldi told her about the accident, and suddenly she remembered everything and started to ask for Jan. The conductor told her that Jan was coming to Prague from London, but Carol didn't understand that because she saw Jan in the street that night.
After having the accident, Carol was taken to a hospital in order to get better. In there's a man who shows around called Pavel Brichta. Pavel meets Carol's doctor and talks to him, and he expresses he's worried for her. So the doctor decides to take Pavel to Carol's room and wait for her until she is awake. Once Carol was awake, she sees Pavel's face through their window's room and starts shouting her husband's name, but she doesn't know this man is not her husband, it's another man. Carol's doctor advised Pavel to leave the room because the situation wasn't good for her, and Pavel accepted. So he started walking away from Carol's room right to the lift. Once the lift doors were open, there was a nervous man who ran out of the lift looking for her wife, Carol. Jan and Pavel didn't see each other, but there was a second man inside the lift who did see Pavel. Joseph saw Pavel's face and he told him that this face was familiar to him. So Joseph asked for his name, and when Pavel told him who he was, Joseph asked Pavel to walk to Carol's room back, and once they both got there, they met Jan and Carol, and for both of them the situation was so confusing that no one knew what to do or what to say about this. The nurse who was with them in the room left them alone, and that's when Joseph took a picture out of his pocket and showed it to Pavel. Joseph asked him if he knew who this woman from the photo was, and Pavel said that he recognized the picture. He said that the woman from the photo was his mother. When Joseph told to Jan and Pavel that their mother's name was Lenka, they couldn't believe the situation because they didn't know about each other up to that time. Joseph told to Pavel and Jan about their young days when they were married, and also told them that they were planning to escape from Czechoslovakia by crossing the borders so they could go to London.
Pavel read Stanislav's letter, and Joseph explained to Pavel why did she hated him. Then Joseph told Pavel that he thought he was dead, how he escaped to Austria. But Pavel always thought that her mother died in a hospital bed in Prague. But Joseph explained Pavel that how Lenka died. For some minutes, nobody said anything. After that, Pavel turned to Jan and said that he had a family and had a brother and sister who was Carl. Pavel was so worried about the accident, and that's why he came to the hospital to see Carol, to know that she was right, because she was shouted at him. Suddenly, Mr. Rinaldi came in and asked Carol if she was right to play in the concert that night, and that all the family could go to the concert. So Joseph said, "How can we say no?"